billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
He said these kind of comments don't just come from nowhere. This was either a concept that Kilmeade had personally been considering, rolling over in his mind, I'd just kill him, or it's something that he had been asked to float. Was this Fox News floating a trial balloon? He notes Earhart, instead of deflecting, doubled down. Why did it have to get to this point? In other words, she agrees with the genocide of homeless, mentally ill people is necessary and wants to get down to the details. Crazy alert for the day. This is just nuts. Did you ever hear of the Action T4 program? This is a program that was started it was the idea of Adolf Hitler's personal physician. And this was long before there was like mass killings of Jews or anything like that. The AKTION T4, Acton T4 program, started out looking at homeless people and disabled people, particularly mentally disabled people. And what they did is they recruited doctors around Germany and they gave them lethal injections and killed them. 70,000 people. It started with the injections, but that got expensive and cumbersome. And so a few months into the program, what they did is they these like the U-Haul trailers you can rent that you haul behind your car. They got a bunch of these little trailers, and they took a pipe and took it from the exhaust of the truck that's pulling the trailer and just ran that exhaust right into that little trailer. And then they would go round up homeless people and stick them in the trailer and close the door and run the engine and asphyxiate them with carbon monoxide. Like I said, they killed 70,000 people. This was the predicate to the Holocaust. But this was Hitler's way of dealing with the homeless problem, and it was a widespread problem in Germany in the 1933, 1940, in the early 30s, because they had just lost World War I. I mean, Germany was in ruins. Their economy was in the crapper. Their industry was just starting to rebuild. They were suffering under the Treaty of Versailles, as John Maynard Keynes correctly pointed out, predicting World War II based on the Treaty of Versailles. And so there were a lot of homeless people on the streets. And Hitler was very offended by them. He called them filth and vermin. And he killed 70,000 homeless people and mostly mentally disabled people. Now, here's this dialogue that happened on Fox News. I believe it was last Friday. Lawrence Jones was on, and he said, they've given billions of dollars to mental health in the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that's necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources we're going to give you, or you decide that you've got to get locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now. Okay, so let's just lock up the homeless. So then Brian Kilmeade says, or involuntary lethal injection or something, I'd just kill them. And then Ainsley Earhart says, basically validating what Brian Kilmeade just said, she said, Brian, why did it have to get to this point? Not, Brian, holy crap, what did you just say? But, why did it have to get to this point? In other words, okay, your suggestion sounds reasonable to me. It seems justified, but how do we get here? Why are these homeless people so in need of killing? I mean, this is this Jones, Kilmeade, Earhart plan to kill people is just it's shocking. And by the way, I think it's important to point out, and Jim Stewartson did a great job of this over at mind-war.com. He said these kind of comments don't just come from nowhere. This was either a concept that Kilmeade had personally been considering, rolling over in his mind, I'd just kill him, or it's something that he had been asked to float. Was this Fox News floating a trial balloon? He notes Earhart, instead of deflecting, doubled down. Why did it have to get to this point? In other words, she agrees with the genocide of homeless, mentally ill people is necessary and wants to get down to the details. Now, over on MSNBC, Matt Dowd, who is a former Republican consultant, worked for George W. Bush, said words to the effect of Charlie Kirk was peddling hate and hate ended up killing him. It's a sad thing. And he got fired for that. Brian Kilmeade is saying, hey, let's start the Action T4 program. Let's get the doctors out there with those syringes full of cyanide. Won't that be fun? Maybe we could make a deal with U-Haul and get a bunch of trailers and just, get some flexible pipe to go from the cars or the pickup trucks that pull them around and pick up the homeless people and just load them in the trailers and fill them with auto exhaust. What the hell is going on in this country? And why is Fox saying, well, it's okay, Brian, no problem. You can just apologize on the air and we'll pretend it never happened.